Meryl Streep. You think you know Hollywood's most respected icon? Think again. For decades, Meryl Streep was the actress nobody touched. Elegant, disciplined, never messy, never controversial. She was the one star who seemed above it all. But recently, everything changed. At 76 years old, she finally let the mask slip and revealed that there are actors in Hollywood she doesn't just dislike, she hates. And the names? Let's just say they left jaws on the floor. These weren't small rivals. These were some of the industry's biggest legends, the very people fans believed she admired most. Once the truth came out, audiences could never look at their collaborations the same way again. Let's break it down, one by one. Kevin Kline, the lover she couldn't stand on screen in Sophie's Choice, 1982. Kevin Kline looked like the perfect match for Meryl. Their chemistry was undeniable, the performances unforgettable. But behind the scenes, it was a battlefield. Meryl had spent months in preparation studying Holocaust survivor accounts, mastering Polish and German accents, and digging into Sophie's trauma with relentless focus. Kline, on the other hand, thrived on instinct. He improvised, played it loose, and often dismissed her approach as overkill. At one tense rehearsal, he even joked about her accent work, asking, "Do you really think the audience cares about your vowel sounds more than what she's feeling?" For Meryl, that was a dagger to the heart of her process. Sophie's broken speech wasn't just an accent, it was part of her soul. When Kline later called her approach academic in interviews, the damage was permanent. She smiled in public, but privately, she swore never to work with him again, and she kept that promise. Jeremy Irons, the cold co-star she despised. If Kevin Kline was a wound that never healed, Jeremy Irons was the scar that burned every time she remembered it. To the public, they seemed like a dream, pairing two classically trained, highly respected actors. But their visions of acting couldn't have been further apart. Irons was polished, restrained, statuesque. Meryl was raw, emotional, and immersed in character backstory. Their methods clashed so badly that rehearsals turned icy. When Irons dismissed her accent work as technical showmanship, Meryl felt betrayed. To her, an accent wasn't just sound, it was biography. It was respect for the people whose lives she was representing. From that moment, admiration turned to contempt. He thought she was self-indulgent. She thought he was hollow. Their scenes became duels rather than collaborations. And though audiences saw elegance, what really played out on set was silent warfare. Alec Baldwin, the improviser who infuriated her comedy, should have been a safe space, right? Not with Alec Baldwin. On the set of It's Complicated, 2009, what audiences saw as hilarious banter was actually two actors pulling in opposite directions. Nancy Meyers, the director, thought Baldwin's off-the-cuff charm would balance Streep's precision. Instead, it was chaos. Meryl meticulously dissected every line and motivation, while Baldwin bulldozed through takes, rewriting dialogue on the fly and throwing in unscripted jokes. To him, comedy lived in spontaneity. To her, comedy only worked when grounded in truth. The result? Tension so thick the crew could barely breathe. Baldwin still laughs about it today, but Meryl hasn't forgotten. Every smile on screen hid clenched teeth. Jack Nicholson, the star she refused to work with. Now here's the shocker. Meryl Streep has never made a film with Jack Nicholson, and that was no accident. For decades, Hollywood tried to push them together, convinced it would be box office gold. But every time, Meryl shut it down. Why? Because she believed Nicholson stood for everything she despised about stardom. Where she saw acting as sacred work, he saw it as swagger. While she buried for herself in preparation, Nicholson famously shrugged, "Preparation? That's intellectual masturbation." For Meryl, that line was unforgivable. Casting director Juliet Taylor once summed it up, Jack represents everything Meryl thinks is wrong with Hollywood. And so, the two never shared a screen. Studios begged. Fans dreamed. But Meryl drew the line. Gwyneth Paltrow, the symbol of everything she hated. Now this one wasn't about clashing methods. This was about what Meryl saw as the decay of Hollywood itself. To her, Gwyneth Paltrow wasn't just another actress. She was the poster child of privilege and easy success. The daughter of Blythe Danner and Bruce Paltrow, Gwyneth walked into doors others had to break down. She shot to fame in the 90 seconds, seemingly without sweat. And in 1999, when she won the Best Actress Oscar for Shakespeare in Love, Meryl was furious. That same year, Meryl delivered one of her most grueling performances in One True Thing and lost. Publicly, she smiled. Privately, she seethed. Friends say she dismissed that year's Oscars as a marketing contest. And though she never mentioned Gwyneth by name, her meaning was clear. Over the years, Meryl praised younger actresses like Cate Blanchett, Amy Adams, and Jessica Chastain for their dedication, but never Paltrow. At award shows, the coldness was obvious. Quick smiles, stiff nods, no warmth. To Meryl, Gwyneth symbolized celebrity culture over craft, and that was unforgivable. Dustin Hoffman, the slap she never forgave. And finally, the one that left scars you could almost feel through the screen. During the filming of Kramer vs. Kramer 1979, Dustin Hoffman slapped Meryl Streep across the face without warning, without it being in the script. He called it spontaneity. She called it abuse. For her, acting was about trust. For him, it was about chaos. He blurred the line between reality and performance, throwing in unscripted actions to find authenticity. But Meryl didn't see authenticity. She saw humiliation. She later admitted plainly, that was overstepping. That was not acting. The tension on set was so intense that the director often had to play referee. Their on-screen divorce felt painfully real because, in many ways, it was. The resentment wasn't just acting, it was lived. The film went on to sweep the Oscars. Hoffman won Best Actor. Streep won Best Supporting Actress. But behind the smiles, the bitterness was permanent. They never worked together again. So there it is. 6 actors, 6 grudges, and not a single one forgiven. Now I have to ask, did any of these shock you? Was it Kevin Kline, the supposed soulmate from Sophie's Choice? Or Dustin Hoffman, the man behind that infamous slap? Maybe it was her refusal to ever share the screen with Jack Nicholson. Drop your thoughts below. I'd love to hear what you think. And hey, if this peek behind Hollywood's curtain left you stunned, stick around. There are more stories, more secrets, and more rivalries than you'd ever believe. Hit that like button, subscribe, and don't miss what's coming next. Because in Hollywood, the drama doesn't always stay on screen.